Welcome into the official. I'm your host, Alfred. We got Matt and David here. We are going to continue our look at three-star running backs. Go check out the video from earlier in the week. We listed two guys, DJ Duggar going to Oklahoma State and Tuwan Payton going to Georgia State. Both look like pretty interesting three-star running backs, but we're going to continue the conversation now, starting with a pretty big-time landing spot, at least prestige-wise. We've got Donovan Johnson. He's got a lot of prestige attached to his name. He played at IMG Academy in Florida. He's going to Michigan, 6 foot, 215. He's the biggest back we will talk about today. 4.57 40, but a really impressive 38-inch vert, which makes you think he's probably explosive. 475 squat, so he's got huge lower half. 82 star index, we like that. I couldn't find a whole lot of stats on him on Max Preps, but maybe Matt can fill in some of the gaps here. Talk to us about Donovan Johnson, Matt.
Yeah, so he probably has one of the more interesting career arcs in this class. These are actually freshman highlights we're going to be watching. He had a really, really good freshman year, and then transferred to IMG. Had kind of a adjusting year where he didn't really do much behind some talented backs there. Then going to junior year, he tears his ACL, a very bad ACL tear, which keeps him out the entire junior season, and then most of his senior season as well at IMG. So a bit of a mystery box here. In terms of what you're going to get, because he obviously had this really high peak early in his career, and we're just kind of hoping to see him return to that form at some point. IMG is produced backs that came in and were ready to go. I think Donovan could be one of those guys. It's really just betting on if he can return to this original form that you could see in this freshman tape, where he's a fantastic, giant, big athlete. Scorching on the field, playing against pretty good Georgia competition. He was at a Calvary Day back then. So I think there's a lot to like in terms of the upside here. Former 4-star too. I believe he was a top 5 running back in this class at one point. So
Yeah, I mean,
the upside is all there. Just got hope on the knee to recover.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years worth of injury is brutal. It's always going to tank a prospect status, but he could be. I mean, it's nice to know the context. Thanks for digging that up. I think he is interesting. He looks like an absolute monster on those clips there. Does not look like a freshman at all. All right, David, we're going to move on to you. You've got a guy going to Michigan State, Jace Clarizio, 5'11", 195. Pretty strong, 44.5, 40, 21 miles per hour. So we like to see hitting that 21, 35-inch vert. Pretty good bench and squat. He's got good lifting numbers. Had 8.4 yards per carry, got 1,200 yards this year. 6 for 88 through the air, so not a whole lot to be seen from the receiving game. So tell us what you like about Clarizio here.
I think he's a good mover in general. I like his build. He's like kind of like lower cut, who's got really good agility and change of direction. So I think his vision's good, his feel in general. Like when I look at running backs, I'm just looking for guys that have a good feel. He was pursued pretty heavily by Alabama late in the process. He actually flipped momentarily, but then flipped back to Michigan State. His dad he played at Michigan State, so I think he just wanted to stick with them. But he's listed at 200. He's listed at 200 on the Michigan State's early signing day roster list. So I think he's got a good enough size. Some of his favorite runs aren't on the way that they cut some of these highlights. But a lot of his good runs I like towards the end of his highlights. But he's really good at like shrinking. Like, I don't think he's going to be running dudes over. Like, I don't think he's that type of back, but I do think he is elusive. But like he really shrinks and gets small just before contact. And so I think he will be able to break tackles. It's not going to be like his calling card, but I think he could be a pretty high volume back once he stacks on a little bit more weight, getting that 205, 210 range, ideally. As far as the catching, yeah, I don't know. There's not a ton of highlights on there. I wish he had more receptions, but at least screens and checkdowns, if they could use them like that, like pretty much any back can do that, I feel like. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot to like, and I think the fact that Alabama came at him pretty aggressively is a pretty good sign that like he's good for Michigan State standards, and it's going to be, I feel at least confident that he'll be a starter. And generally, I think he'll be the best back in that room going for multiple years.
All right. Love to see that. Love to hear that. Like you said, at this point, when you're limiting yourself to only 3 stars, getting guys who produce at all and don't disappear is good. But if you're projecting starter status for Clarizio, pretty promising prospect here. So that'll do it. 2 more running backs in the books, and we are going to go do 2 more. So stay tuned to the official later this week. You're going to get 2 more guys to circle at the end of your freshman drafts. This is Alfred signing off. Like and subscribe to the official.